Yes. Kant Krishna Prabhu, you are able to hear my voice? Hare Krishna. Tanuja Mataji,
Hare
am I
Krishna.
audible?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Okay, so we will start the class. So, Saurabh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Pranam Prabhu. Prabhu, you can chant Mangalacharan prayers.
Yeah, Prabhu.
Yes, starting with Om Ajnana. Yes.
Just. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmitline Yene Tasme Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Avishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Samrupam Kadamaham Dadati Swabdakantikam Vande Am Shri Guru Shri Yutpadkamlam Shri Guru Vaishnavancha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sagan Raghunathavan Tam Sajivam Swadetam Savdhutam Parijan Sahitam Krishyatanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagan Lalita Shri Vishakhavantanischa He Krishna Karuna Ninda Sindho Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namastute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणामी हरि प्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुएव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण प्रभु जी धन्यवाद.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes. So we are discussing Sri Upadesamrita, the nectar of instruction, verse number 3. Utsahanishchayad dhairyad tat karma pravartanat sangatyagat sato vritte shadbir bhaktiv prasidhyati. Okay. So Kant Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, yes.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, you can you read just the translation of this verse?
I have to analyze. No. There are 6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service: being enthusiastic, endeavoring with confidence, being patient, acting according to regulative principles, that is such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho, Smaranam, that is hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna. Number 5 is abandoning the association of non-devotees, and 6 is following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. These 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service.
Thank you. So in the last class, we covered the 3 principles which are favorable to the execution of devotional service. That is utsahan, or being enthusiastic. And second is nishchaya, endeavoring with confidence. And another very important thing is dhairya, that is patient. So we also saw the commentary of Srila Prabhupada on these principles. So since this verse, basically it explains the impetus to perform bhakti, Srila Prabhupada is first of all clarifying the definition of bhakti. Because anytime when a person hears bhakti, then he thinks something which is completely on the sentimental level and some type of ecstasy one experiences and some bhava like that. But there is no philosophy behind it. There is no tattva vichara. So such type of imaginative ecstasy or speculative, sentiment, that is not bhakti actually. So bhakti is devotional service, bhakti-may seva. So Srila Prabhupada starts with the explanation of what is not bhakti, and then he quotes the verse Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam, describing what is actually bhakti. Of course, Anasaktasya, Anyabhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadhyanavitam. Wait 1 second. What is that? What is that verse? Anyabhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadhyanavitam. What is next? I just forgot. Yes. Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam Bhakti Uttama. So Uttama Bhakti, or unalloyed devotion to the Supreme Personality of God, Sri Krishna, involves the rendering of devotional service in a way that is favorable to the Lord. Krishna Anushilana. Anushilana means that is favorable to the Lord. This devotional service should be free from any extraneous motive and devoid of fruitive karma, impersonal jnana, and all other selfish desires. So this is called Uttama Bhakti. And then later on, he explains how to perform bhakti, that is Shravanam Kirtanam. Then why do we have to perform bhakti? What is that? Because this material world is this confinement. Okay, it's the confinement for all living entities. And that's why a person who wants to get out of this material entanglement, material whirlpool, then he should perform devotional service under the guidance of a spiritual master. Okay. And what is the qualification for the practitioner? He should be sincere. Sincerity is very important in devotional service. This should be the attitude of the performer. And where do we have to perform bhakti? ISKCON movement is giving chance to perform bhakti to humanity at large. Okay. Then Prabhupada starts explaining about what are the favorable conditions for bhakti. Why? Because we have to perform bhakti in a favorable mood. Anyabhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadhya Nagatam Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. Anukul bhav se. We have to perform bhakti in anukul way, in favorable way. And it should be for Krishna Anushilana. It should be directed towards Krishna, towards the pleasure of Krishna. Bhakti Uttama. This is the best bhakti. Okay. So we discussed about Utsahan, Nishchayat, Dhairyat. Why these three principles, they are very important in our execution of bhakti. And now we will get into Tat Tat Karma Pravartanat. Okay. So yes. So as I have mentioned before, that this verse is made in the prescription metaphor. So the very first, if the doctor, that person who is a patient, he will be very enthusiastic to take the medicine. Okay. And then after having that enthusiasm, that person, that patient will have faith that whatever medicine doctor is giving, that will cure my disease. And also he cannot expect that the medicine will immediately work, but rather you should have some patience, so that eventually when he will take medicine, then by practicing patience, that medicine will cure him. So that's why dhairya is also very important in bhakti. After having that patience, okay, he should also follow tat tat karma pravartana. Also, he should follow do's and don'ts given by the doctor. And sangatyaga, and he should avoid things which are infected. Okay, otherwise he will again become sick. And sattva-vritti is what actually? Sattva-vritti means in bhakti process, he has to follow in the footsteps of previous acharyas. So in this prescription metaphor, we can also see that maybe we can also follow in the footsteps of the people who are actually practicing healthy diet, okay, so that we will not become sick often. So in the same way, this bhakti process, these 6 favorable things are mentioned for cultivating bhakti. So now we will get into the do's and don'ts. What are the regulatory principles in bhakti? Tat tat karma pravartanat. So tat tat means what? That, those karma or those activities, those regulatory principles. Pravartana means what? Pravartana means which by following those following those regulatory principles, he will progress in bhakti. Pravartana. Vartana means going or walking in the path, and pravartana means walking in that path quickly. So prakrishta rupena vartana, that is pravartana. Okay, vartana means walking on that path, on the path of bhakti, and pravartana that tells the meaning of walking on that path quickly. So if you follow these regulatory principles, then your advancement in bhakti, the progress, that will fasten up. Okay. So Prabhupada goes on explaining. I would like to ask Soni Mataji, Soni Sarjnani Mataji, to read from as already explained.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Very enthusiastic about executing the regulative principles. Tat tat karma parvartana. Neglect of the regulative principles will destroy devotional service. In this Krishna consciousness movement, there are 4 basic regulative principles: forbidding illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication. A devotee must very enthusiastic about following these principles. If he becomes slack in following any of them, his progress will certainly be checked. Srila Rupa Goswami therefore recommends tat karma paravartana. One must strictly follow the regulative principles of Vaidhi Bhakti. In addition to these 4 prohibitions, yama, there are positive regulative principles, niyama, such as the daily chanting of 16 rounds or japamala beads. These regulative activities must be faithfully performed with enthusiasm. This is called tat karma parvartana, or varied engagement in devotional service.
So Prabhupada is again and again, if you see this whole paragraph, then you can see that Prabhupada is again and again mentioning the point of enthusiasm, that one should be very enthusiastic about executing these regulative principles, but one should not be idle. Okay, one should not be lethargic in performing these regulative principles. Why? Prabhupada is writing, if he becomes slack in following any of them, his progress will certainly be checked, will certainly be hampered. Okay. So that's why Srila Prabhupada has not given so many rules and regulations, but only 4 basic regulative principles to follow. That is forbidding illicit sex, okay, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication. So no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, and no illicit sex. These are the just 4 basic regulative principles to follow. So there are no so many processes. For example, there are Ashtanga Yoga process and Jnana process and Karmic process, and there are so many processes which will actually, which is not possible actually in this present age of Kali, because people they are Manda Bhagya Suman. So that is Prayana Alpayusha Sabhya Kalavasmin Yuge Janaha Manda Bhagyaha Sumanda Matayo Manda Bhagya Upadutaha. So the people of Kali Yuga, they are Manda Bhagya, very much low-minded, and they are short-living. Okay. They are short-lived, and they are always disturbed. Upadruta. So that's why Srila Prabhupada has given very basic regulative principles, not that so many rules and regulations which people might not be able to perform. So he has made it very simple. That is following 4 regulative principles. And again, what is that? In addition to these 4 prohibitions, yama, there are positive regulative principles, niyama, such as the daily chanting of 16 rounds on japamala beads. So one great devotee, he mentioned that this is the 5th regulative principle. This is the 5th chanting of 16 rounds on japamala. So this is basic. So after we progress in bhakti, after we develop shraddha in bhakti, and we have faith that okay, this process will work, then we associate with the devotee, sadhu sangha. Okay. Then after developing proper association with devotees, we eventually take shelter of bona fide spiritual master. We take initiation from him, and that is the part of bhajana kriya. Okay. In the stage of bhajana kriya, a person, the practitioner, he takes initiation from bona fide spiritual master, and he promises before before his guru and the fire, keeping them as witnesses, that I will follow these 4 prohibitions, yama, and also I will every day, okay, without any doubt, without any so I will every day chant 16 rounds on japamala beads. So he takes this vow. So he promises his guru that he will follow this regulatory principles. So these are the basic rules and regulations mentioned for the practitioner who is on the stage of Vaidhi Bhakti. Prabhupada is telling Sri Rupa Goswami therefore recommends tat karma pravartanat. One must strictly follow the regulative principles of Vaidhi Bhakti. Now you will wonder, Prabhuji, what is Vaidhi Bhakti actually? So see, there are 3 types of bhakti: sadhana bhakti, bhav bhakti, and prem bhakti. Okay. In sadhana bhakti, there are two divisions. When the person is in a very neophyte stage, in the practicing stage, then he practices the rules and regulations of Vaidhi Bhakti or Vidhan. The word Vaidhi has come from Vidhan or Vidhi. So what is Vidhi? What are the regulations? That is Yama and Niyama. That is 4 prohibitions and positive regulatory principle, that is Niyama, that is daily chanting of 16 rounds. So these are the principles of Vaidhi Bhakti. Eventually, that person, he develops more faith and he increases his bhajana kriya, all his devotional activities. He develops more attraction towards Krishna. And then he tries to follow in the footsteps of Ragatmika Bhaktas. Okay? Ragatmika Bhaktas. What is Raga? Raga means attachment or attraction to Krishna. Okay. So, who are Ragatmika Bhaktas? Ragatmika Bhaktas are the gopis, Yashoda Mai, Nanda Maharaj, other friends of Krishna, the Sakhas. These are Ragatmika Bhaktas. And eventually that person, after practicing the regulatory principles of Vaidhi Bhakti, he comes to the stage of Raganuga Bhakti. What is Anuga? Anuga means following in the footsteps of Ragatmika Bhaktas. So that Bhakti is called Raganuga Bhakti. So Sadhana Bhakti has 2 divisions. Sadhana means practicing regulatory principles, sadhana or performing sadhana, some rules and regulations. In that only, there are 2 divisions, Vaidhi and Raganuga. So Vaidhi is he's in a very neophyte stage, and he follows all these rules and regulations. And eventually, when his faith is increased, he increases his devotional activities. He comes to the stage of Raganuga Bhakti. And then when his faith even increases more, then he comes to the stage, his attraction towards Krishna increases, then he comes to the stage of Bhava Bhakti. Then when the pure love of Krishna increases even more, then that person comes to the stage of Prema Bhakti. That is the highest level of Prema Bhakti. So that's what here Prabhupada is saying, that these rules and regulations which are there, these are for Vaidhi Bhakti. So Tat Karma Pravartana. Since Sri Rupa Goswami has given this shlokas, this Upadesamrita shlokas for the people who are practicing, who are in that, who are practicing devotional service. So those who are practicing Vaidhi Bhakti, for them he has actually written this Upadesamrita. Okay. Then next important point is Sangatyaga. Okay. Abandoning association of non-devotees. Okay. Tanuja Mataji. Furthermore.
Okay, Prabhu. Furthermore, in order to successful in devotional service, one must give up the associations of
Undesirable people.
This includes karmis, jnanis, yogis, and other non-devotees. Once Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu was asked by one of his householder devotees about the general principles of Vaishnavism, as well as the general routine activity of a Vaishnava. And Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu immediately replied, Asat Sat Sanga Tyaga Evi Vaishnava Akarar. Correct, Prabhuji?
Achar.
Achar.
Yes, Asat Sanga Tyaga Ei Vaishnava Achar.
Okay. Characteristically, a Vaishnava is one who gives up the association of worldly people or non-devotees. Srila,
Yes.
okay. Can I continue?
Yes.
Yeah. Srila Nityanam Dasha Thakura.
Narottam Das Thakur. Narottam Das Thakur.
Narottam. Yeah. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has therefore recommended Tandera
Charana
Charana
Sevi
Charana
Bhakta
Sevi Charana Sevi Bhakta Sen Veda Sani
Sanivas.
Sanivas.
Yes.
One has to live in the company of pure devotees and execute the regulatory principles laid down by the previous acharyas, the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Jiya Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Das Goswami, Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, and Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. If one lives in the association of devotees, there is a little chance of associating with non-devotees. Is
Yes.
okay, Prabhu? Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Then, you can read until the spiritual life. Purpose of ISKCON, that is.
Okay. Purpose of ISKCON, the International Society of Krishna Consciousness, is opening many centers just to invite people to live in the company of devotees and practice the regulative principles of spiritual life.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Mother. Yes. So here Sangatyaga is very important, abandoning association of non-devotees. So this point of associating with devotees is very much stressed by Sri Rupa Goswami. He, even while describing the unfavorable things in Bhakti, Atyahara Prayasascha, Prajalpuniyamagraha, Janasangaha. So he has indicated that we have to avoid the association of non-devotees by the word Janasangha. So this is unfavorable for our execution of devotional service, and also by the word Sangatyaga, we have to abandon association of non-devotees. So again, he has actually mentioned that we have to not associate with non-devotees. So he has mentioned this in negative way. Again, both you can see Jnana Sangha, we have to avoid. Here also Sangatyaga, we have to avoid. So in Bhagavad Gita, it is stated Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha. Okay, when we associate with such type of people who have that same type of nature and who are on the same path, we develop interest. Kamaha means interest or attraction or more desire. So that's why that Sangat Sanjayate Kama is used in a negative sense, that in the material world, if we associate, if we come in contact with sense objects, okay, then we develop or we have so much desire to aspire for them. Similarly, when we associate and when we live in the company of devotees, then we have desire to follow the rules and regulations described in the scriptures, to follow it more enthusiastically. And Srila Prabhupada is telling that this is also one of the purpose of ISKCON. There are 7 purposes of ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada has mentioned. And among one of the purposes of ISKCON is that this International Society for Krishna Consciousness is opening many centers for what? Just to invite people to live in the company of devotees and practice the regulative principles of spiritual life. So see, so it is connected so much, you see. After mentioning Tat Karma Pravartanat, how we will practice, how we have to follow these rules and regulations given in the scriptures of Vaidhi Bhakti. We have to practice these regulatory principles of spiritual life in the association of devotees. This is very important. Otherwise, if we don't live in the association of devotees, what will happen? We will become idle. We will become lethargic. Eventually, we will leave practicing these regulatory principles. That's why it's very important that we practice this regulatory principles, tat karma pravartanat, in the association of devotees, so that we can always be enthusiastic. We will see other devotees, they are always engaged in devotional activities, and that's why we will also have that desire. We will also inculcate that desire to engage in that devotional activities. Okay. Next point, sato vritti. Yes, Trisha Sharma Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, you can read from devotional service.
Okay. Devotional service means transcendental activities. On the transcendental platform, there is no contamination by the three modes of material nature. This is called Vishuddha Sattva, the platform of pure goodness, or goodness free from contamination by the qualities of passion and ignorance. In this Krishna consciousness movement, we require everyone to rise early in the morning by 4 o'clock and attend Mangala Aarti or morning worship, then read Srimad Bhagavatam, perform Kirtana, and so forth. Thus, we hold continuous activities in devotional service 24 hours daily. This is called Satovriti, or following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas, who expertly filled every moment of time with Krishna conscious activities.
Yeah, yes. So Srila Prabhupada, first of all, is mentioning that this bhakti, this devotional service, means transcendental activities. Now, what do you mean by transcendental? Transcendental activities means that is beyond the three modes of material nature. So now you think transcendental means even it has to be uncontaminated from the qualities of goodness. Even goodness, so goodness, passion, and ignorance, you cannot tell that, Prabhuji, okay, so this is goodness when this is pure goodness. No. So each and every mode is contaminated or is mixed with other qualities of passion and ignorance, or vice versa. So goodness is also associated with the qualities of passion and ignorance. Passion is also mixed with goodness and ignorance. Ignorance is also mixed with goodness and passion. So no mode of any of the modes, they are not completely pure. They are always mixed. But the bhakti process, the activities of bhakti, they are on the level of Vishuddha Sattva, or the platform of pure goodness, or goodness free from the contamination of qualities of passion and ignorance. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. We have to realize Vasudeva. We have to realize Vasudeva in the state of Vishuddha Sattva. Only can we approach Vasudeva when we are situated on the platform of Vishuddha Sattva. So how can we become situated on this stage, Vishuddha Sattva? By engaging in devotional service. Okay. So then Prabhupada is mentioning that what are the activities in the Krishna consciousness? So you see the whole morning program and the whole dinacharya, or the schedule of a devotee, you can see it's filled with every moment of time with Krishna conscious activities. There is no time for a devotee to think something other than Krishna. Everything he does, that is associated or that is for the pleasure of Krishna. After executing the morning program, that is what, by waking up at 4 o'clock morning and then attending Mangalarti and then performing the Guru Puja, then after worshipping spiritual master, then we have Krishna Katha or discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, and then later on we have 3 times Kirtan, Mangalarti, then afternoon Kirtan, then evening Kirtan, and so forth. So devotee is constantly engaged, you see, in preaching activities, in performing archana, performing worship to Krishna, and cleaning the temple. In this way, he's always is engaged in the service of Krishna. Prabhupada is mentioning, thus we hold continuous activities in devotional service 24 hours daily. 24 hours. So in some temples, this 24-hour Kirtan program is being held actually. Basically, in ISKCON Vrindavan, as I know, ISKCON Vrindavan holds 24-hour Kirtan every day. Every day, 24-hour Kirtans are held. So now you will tell Prabhuji how that devotee is engaged in bhakti while sleeping. Yes. So 6 hours he has to sleep, 7 hours he has to sleep. So how he's engaged in the in bhakti that time. So yes, one explanation can be given that even while that person is sleeping, he has Krishna conscious dreams. Because whole day a person who is always conscious of Krishna, then in dreams also he will think about Krishna, he will have dreams about Krishna. And another explanation which another devotee gave, that that devotee sleeps. Why? Because that devotee, that attitude of a devotee is what actually when he's going to sleep now, then he thinks, oh Lord, for 6 hours I'm not going to remember you. So this body is so actually bounded up, and I have to sleep. This is a requirement of this is the need of the body. That's why I have to sleep. Otherwise, if I don't sleep, then I cannot perform service of my spiritual master and yours. So that's why please forgive me. This is the attitude of a devotee. So in that way, that devotee, he sleeps so that he can more enthusiastically, he can perform the devotional activities or preaching activities. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada is telling that devotees continuously engaged in devotional service 24 hours daily. No Sunday, no holiday. Not that, oh, Sunday, okay, so we will become little bit, so we will not perform any devotional activities. Not like that. Every day, daily. This is called Sato Vritti. Sato Vritti. Or following. Sataha means previous acharyas. And Vritti means following in the footsteps. So the previous acharyas, they have filled expertly every moment of time with Krishna conscious activities. So that's what we are following in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Rupa Goswami. So he has filled every moment of time with Krishna concept. So many activities are there. Okay. So Srila Prabhupada is at last giving summary. Yes, Jarka Neelam Mataji. पढ़ेंगे आप? Okay, Mohan Prabhu.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु अभी पॉसिबल नहीं
क्या प्रभु जी?
पॉसिबल नहीं
in this verse by Sri Rupa Goswami, namely being enthusiastic, being confident, being patient, giving up the association of unwanted persons, following the regulatory principles and remaining in the association of devotees, one is sure to advance in devotional service. So basically, Srila Prabhupada, actually, Prabhupada also, he gives, quotes the commentary of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, is Anubritti commentary on Upadesamrita. So basically, Srila Prabhupada has already covered all the points mentioned in this commentary. So I will just skip that for the time being. In this regard, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur remarks that the cultivation of knowledge by philosophical speculation, the collection of mundane opulence by the advancement of fruitive activities, okay, and the desire for yoga siddhis, material perfections, are all contrary to the principles of devotional service. So since all the devotees of the Lord are under the protection of his supreme potency, that is Lord Krishna's potency, they should not deviate from the path of devotional service and take to the path of Karmi, Jnani, or Yogi. So, in second verse or maybe first verse, Srila Prabhupada was explaining the concept of Mahatma and Duratma. So, what was that actually? What is the meaning of Mahatma? Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha. So Mahatma is constantly being under the protection of, under the control of Yoga Maya, or the supreme potence, the Antaranga Shakti of Lord. And who is Duratma? Duratma is always under the protection, under the control of Bahiranga Shakti, or the material energy. And our duty is to become Mahatma from Duratma. We have to come from that Duratma position to Mahatma position. So whoever takes up to the devotional activities, he comes under the protection of Antaranga Shakti. And that's why Prabhupada is advising that he should not deviate from the path of devotional service and take to the path of Karmi, Jnani, or Yogi. This is called Utsahan Nishchaya Dhairya Tat Karma Pravartana. Enthusiastically executing the regulatory activities of devotional service with patience and confidence. In this way, one can advance in devotional service without hindrance. Okay. So he should, Prabhupada already covered, you see. He covered Sangatyaga. So we don't have to associate with Karmi, Jnani, or Yogi. And he covered Utsaha Nishya Dhairya Tatat Karma Pravartanat by telling enthusiastically executing the regulatory principles of devotional service, okay, with patience and confidence. And at last, we have to follow in the footsteps of previous acharyas. Because if we perform these activities, automatically Satovritte is that. Satovritte. That is, we are following in the footsteps of previous acharyas, who has expertly filled all our time in devotional activities. Okay. Next verse, text 4. Dadati prati krishnati guhyamakhyati pritchati bhungte bhojayate chaiva shadvidham priti lakshanam. Kant Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Yes.
Yeah, you can read the translation.
Offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts, revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially, accepting prasad, and offering prasad are the 6 symptoms of love shared by one devotee and another.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So now here, the 6 symptoms of loving exchanges between one devotee and another, that is mentioned. Now, what is the connection between previous verses and this verse? So in previous lessons, we mentioned that one's desires and ambitions develop according to the company one keeps. Yes? Srila Rupa Goswami has emphasized on Sangha so much. Twice he has mentioned on the importance of and the association with the devotees. So Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha. So one's desires and ambitions develop according to the company one keeps. You can see that in every field. Of a person who wants to get success in business field, then he has to associate with such type of people, with such type of business-minded people. A person, a student who wants to gain success in educational field, he has to associate with such type of students who are on that, same field. Therefore, if we want to progress in Krishna consciousness, we have to associate with devotees. Now, text 4 explains what association consists of. Yes, in 2nd and 3rd verses, it was mentioned that we have to leave the association of karmis, jnanis, and yogis and non-devotees. Now we have to associate with devotees. So now 4th verse is explaining what actually association consists of. What does it consist of? So it's Sangha or association does not just mean physical proximity. There are so many people, there are so many, sometimes there are security guards, there are so many other people who are hired and they are given some, some work in the temple. And for 25 years, 30 years, they are there. But still, you will see there is no change of heart. You will see they are in the same position as they were there before 25 years. What is the problem? Because those people, they are not reciprocating with the devotees. They are not doing these loving exchanges, these 6 loving exchanges between the devotees. That's why their heart is not getting changed. So this verse tells, how do we have to take association of devotees? What association consists of? It also begins to explain how one should associate with devotees. Then further instructions on how to associate with different types of devotees are found in texts 5 and 6. So eventually we'll see that it's not that all the devotees are on the same level. No, there are types of devotees and you have to choose. You have to be careful with which type of devotees you have to associate. If you associate with devotees who are Kanishta Adhikari, then what will happen? You will eventually fall down. You will not be able to progress. Yes. So that's why there are types of devotees, and you have to choose the proper, association of the, proper devotees. So in the 5th and 6th verses, the category of the devotees will be mentioned. Okay. In this verse, Rupa Goswami explains how to perform devotional activities in the association of other devotees. There are 6 kinds of activities: giving charity to the devotees, accepting from the devotees whatever they may offer in return. 3rd, opening one's mind to the devotees. 4th, inquiring from them about the confidential service of the Lord. 5th, honoring prasada or spiritual food given by the devotees and feeding the devotees by prasada. An experienced devotee explains, and an inexperienced devotee learns from it. This is called Guhyam Akhyati Prichati. So Guhyam, that is confidential knowledge. Akhyati means tells, and Prichati means that inexperienced devotee. He asks the experienced devotee. Next is, when a devotee distributes prasada, remnants of food offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in order to maintain our spirit of devotional service, we must accept this prasada as the Lord's grace. What is the meaning of prasada? Prasada is the Lord's grace received through the pure devotees. We should also invite pure devotees to our home, offer them prasada, and be prepared to please them in all respects. This is called Bhumte Bhojayate Chaiva. Now, again, in the same purport, Prabhupada is actually answering all the questions: to whom, where, why, how. In the same way, the text 3 purport was given. So in the same way, this purport is being arranged. Okay. Saurabh Prabhu, you can read from Ivan. Hare Krishna. So you can start reading from Ivan in ordinary social activities.
Even in ordinary social activities, these 6 types of dealings between 2 loving friends are absolutely necessary. For instance, when one businessman wishes to contact another businessman, he arranges a feast in a hotel, and over the feast, he openly expresses what he wishes to do. He then inquires from his business friend how he should act, and sometimes presents are exchanged. Thus, whenever there is a dealing of priti or love in intimate dealings, these 6 activities are executed. In the previous verse, Srila Rupa Goswami advised that one should renounce worldly association and keep company with devotees. Sang Tyagat Sato Vithe. Where to associate? Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. So yes, so Prabhupada is answering to the question of we have to associate with whom. So we have to associate with the devotees. So now the 6 Priti Lakshana, or the 6 types of dealings, they are there even in the material world. Even Prabhupada is actually connecting this point with a mundane example. So even if there are two loving friends, they will also exchange these six types of dealings. Okay. Now, Prabhupada then he's telling, where do we have to associate? We have to associate with whom? After telling, where do we have to associate? Sneha Madhavi.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Where to associate से read करना है?
हाँ, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness.
Okay. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness has been established to facilitate these 6 kind of loving exchanges between devotees. This society was started single-handedly, but because people are coming forward and dealing with the give and take policy, the society is now expanding all over the world.
Yes, go on.
Give and take policy, we are glad that people are donating very liberally to the development of the society's activities, and people are also eagerly accepting whatever humble contribution we are giving them in the shape of books and magazines dealing strictly with the subject matter of Krishna consciousness.
Yes. Next.
Bhungte bhojayate chaiva.
Yes.
We sometimes hold Hare Krishna festivals and invite live members and friends to participate in the feasting by accepting prasada. Although most of our members come from the higher rungs of society, they nonetheless come and take whatever little prasada we are able to offer them. Guhyam akhyati prichati. Sometimes the members and supporters inquire very confidently about the method of performing devotional service, and we try to explain this. In this way, our society is successful, spreading all over the world, and the intelligence of all countries is gradually appreciating our Krishna consciousness activities. Krishna conscious activities. The life of the Krishna conscious society is nourished by these 6 types of loving exchange among the members. Therefore, people must be given the chance to associate with the devotees of ISKCON, because simply by reciprocating in the 6 ways mentioned above, an ordinary man can fully revive his dormant Krishna consciousness.
Yes. So in this whole paragraph, Srila Prabhupada is actually telling that how ISKCON movement is facilitating these 6 kinds of loving exchanges. Okay, so we have to associate with the devotees in ISKCON movement. So Srila Prabhupada has organized this ISKCON movement for the Krishna Bhavanamrit Sangha, okay, International Society. So this is a society where all the devotees, they come and we associate with them. So here, how ISKCON is actually, doing all these 6 types of activities, give and take policy. So Prabhupada is actually translating this word dadati and pratigrinhati by give and take policy. So what is that? Give and take policy. So whatever humble contribution we are getting, so they are giving. So of course they are donating very liberally. And Srila Prabhupada, in his humility, is telling that whatever humble contribution we are giving them in the shape of books and magazines dealing strictly with the subject matter of Krishna consciousness. So this is the Pratikrishnati. Okay. So we are giving them the books. Okay. And then Bhungte Bhojayate Chaiva. So that is holding feasts, and then the devotees, the devotees, they call other devotees for prasadam. They invite other devotees. And Guhyam Akhyati Prichati is again, okay. The members, they ask questions and the devotees, they answer to them. So in that way, the life of the Krishna conscious society is nourished, Prabhupada is writing. This is nourished by these 6 types of living exchanges among the members. Now, next, Prabhupada is writing how to associate with devotees. How do we have to associate? Okay. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated, Sangha Sanjayate Kamaha. One's desires and ambitions develop according to the company one keeps. It is often said that a man is known by his company. And if an ordinary man associates with devotees, he will certainly develop his dormant Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada is quoting, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunoy Shravanadi Suddha Chitte Karage Budoy. Pure love for Krishna is eternally established in the hearts of living entities. It is not something to be gained from another source. When the heart is purified by hearing and chanting, Shravanadi Suddha, Shravanadi, okay, by hearing and chanting, that love naturally awakens. So Krishna consciousness is not artificially imposed upon the heart. It is already there, Prabhupada is right. When one chants the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the heart is cleansed of all mundane contamination. Cheto darpana marjanam bhavamaha davagirva shreyah kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadhuchita anandambudhi vardhanam pratipadam purnamrita swadanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So in that way, by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it extinguishes the fire of conditioned life, of repeated birth and death. And in that way, it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Then Prabhupada is going on explaining the principle of the Dadati principle, or the give and take policy, little bit more. Okay. Definitely the people, the outside people, they are donating liberally and we are giving them books. So in the same way, that this Dadati principle can also be applied in the way that we are chanting holy name. So Haridas Thakur said that the chanting of holy names is so powerful that even if one chants in the remotest part of the jungle, the trees and animals will advance in Krishna consciousness simply by hearing the vibration. This was actually proved by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself when he passed through the forest of Jharkhand. Now, of course, we cannot imitate the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but we should follow in his footsteps. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting, and so other animals, snakes, tigers, everyone was dancing. And they abandoned all their enviousness, animosity, everything, and they were dancing. So Prabhupada is saying we cannot imitate Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but we should follow in his footsteps. We should actually convert by chanting the holy names of the Lord. We can actually convert many people throughout the world to Krishna consciousness. Contributing or distributing the holy name of the Lord is a sublime example of contributing or giving charity, the Dadati principle. So everyone can perform this Dadati principle by distributing the holy name of the Lord. This is the best charity one can give to another person. You see, sublime example, Prabhupada is writing. And by the same token, one must also follow the Pratigrihnati principle or taking policy and be willing and ready to receive the transcendental gift. So you should be willing to receive the transcendental gift of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Okay. Then Guhyam Akhyati Pricha. One should inquire about the Krishna consciousness movement and open his mind in order to understand the situation of this material world. Thus, the Guhyam Akhyati Prichati principles can be served. Then Prabhupada is writing about one second. Yes, Bhumte Bhojayate Cheva. So the members of the ISKCON movement invite the society's members and supporters to dine with them when they hold love feasts in all their branches every Sunday. Many interested people come to honor Prasada, and whenever possible, they invite members of the society to their homes and feed them sumptuously with Prasada. In this way, both the members of the society and the general public are benefited. Bhumte and bhojayat. Okay. Now, Prabhupada is writing, people in this way, people should give up the company of so-called yogis, gyanis, karmis, and philanthropists, because their association can benefit no one. Okay. That's why now, why do we have to associate with devotees? Prabhupada is answering. So if one really wants to attain the goal of human life, he should associate with the devotees of the Krishna consciousness movement, because it is the only moment that teaches one how to develop love of God. So Prabhupada is writing, when a religious system, develops and turns into love of God, it is success. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje ahaituki apratihata yatmasu prasida. So why do we have to take up the process of bhakti? Because if that religious system, if that dharma that turns into developing of love of God, yato bhaktir adhokshaje, when we develop love, when we develop bhakti towards adhokshaj, towards Supreme Lord, then definitely success is guaranteed. So the very first point is that why do we have to perform bhakti? Because success is guaranteed. There is no loss or diminution in this process. Neha bhikramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhaya. Even if you perform little bit of bhakti process, there is no loss and there is no diminution, but rather you will be saved from the greatest danger of life. What is that? Janma mrityu jara vyadhi. This is the greatest danger, and gliding into the animal species of life. Because when you are glided into the animal species of life, you cannot cultivate bhakti. So that's why even if you perform little bit of bhakti in this life, so you will get saved from gliding into the animal species. Okay. If the members of human society actually want peace of mind, tranquility, and friendly relations between them, between men and between nations, they must follow the Krishna conscious system of religion, by which they can develop their dormant love for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God. As soon as people do so, their minds will become immediately be filled with peace and tranquility. So these are some of the reasons we have to follow. So peace of mind, tranquility, and friendly relations. So when when there is Krishna conscious system of religion, okay, then everyone will develop the dormant love for Krishna, and then their mind will be situated in peace and tranquility. Anandamayo bhyasa. Okay. Then basically Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he summarizes everything. I would like to take a little bit, maybe 5 to 10 minutes more, because I want to conclude this verse. So your cooperation is appreciated. In this regard, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur warns all devotees engaged in broadcasting the Krishna conscious movement not to speak to the impersonalists or Mayavadis, who are always determined to oppose such theistic movements. Sometimes they even back a strong party to oppose the Krishna conscious movement. The Mayavadis and other atheists do not want the Krishna conscious movement to develop, because it educates people in God consciousness. Such is the policy of the atheist. The Mayavadis, the atheists, they are envious of this movement. They don't want people to become educated about God consciousness. So now, how to not associate with? Okay, initially Prabhupada explained how to associate with the devotees. That is all the 6. Now, how to not associate with Mayavadis and all atheists. So Guhyamakyati, there is no benefit in feeding a snake milk and bananas, because the snake will never be satisfied. On the contrary, by taking milk and bananas, the snake simply becomes more poisonous. If a snake is given milk to drink, its poison simply increases. For a similar reason, we should not disclose our minds to the serpent Mayavadis and Karmis. such disclosure will never help. It is best to completely avoid associating with them and never ask them about anything confidential because they cannot give you good advice. Now, how do we not? We don't have to perform this process, bhungte and bhojayate. Nor should we extend invitations to Mayavadis and atheists or accept their invitations. For by such intimate intermingling, we may become affected by their atheistic mentality. Sangat sanjayate kamaha. Tadati pratigana. It is the negative injunction of this verse that we should refrain from giving anything or to accept anything from the Mayavadis and atheists. So we should not give anything to Mayavadis and we should not accept anything. Because if for example, if we why Prabhupada is telling in that way? Because if we explain the glories of holy name, then Mayavadis, they will perform, they will commit aparadha, they will commit offense against holy name. Okay, they will become more papi, they will become more offenders to the lotus feet of the Lord. And also, we should not accept anything from the Mayavadis, because we are not on the stage that we can accept anything, okay, from Mayavadis or atheists, because their mentality is associated with that thing. So it's not that that thing is independent of what of whoever is giving, not like that. But that person who is giving, we have to see if Mayavad is giving or atheist is giving. So if we are on the neophyte stage, then we should not take from them, because we will also become affected by their mentality, since we are in the neophyte stage. But the great devotees who are on the advanced level of bhakti, they can accept. Okay, they can accept because they are very merciful, and they will definitely, because their faith is very much strengthened, so they will not become affected by the things which they accept from Mayavadis or things. Okay. Then at last, conclusion is what? The conclusion is that we should always keep company with devotees, observe the regulative devotional principles, follow in the footsteps of previous acharyas, and in full obedience, carry out the orders of the spiritual master. In this way, we shall be able to develop our devotional service and dormant Krishna consciousness. Okay. So at last, Prabhupada is summarizing up everything. And also, he is also actually giving a little bit of introduction of the next verse. So in the next verse, we are going to discuss who are the devotees, what are the categories of the devotees, whom do we have to associate. It's not that all the devotees are on the same level, but there are categories, there are divisions of a devotee. And the devotee, the association of a Mahabhagavata or Madhyamadikari is actually desirable. So the devotee who is neither a neophyte nor a Mahabhagavata, but is within the middle status of devotional service, is expected to love the Supreme Personality of God, make friends with the devotees, show favor to the ignorant, and reject the jealous and demoniac. In this verse, there is brief mention of the process of making loving transactions with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and making friends with the devotees. So in the next verse, we will discuss. So we will discuss what is the activities, what are the activities of a Madhyama Adhikari, middle state, the person who is on the middle status of devotional service. So he makes friends with the devotees, and then he reciprocates with the devotees in these 6 loving exchanges. So some type of introduction is given. Okay. Then again, at the last also, Prabhupada is giving advice to all the householders. He's also telling about Dadati principle again. According to the Dadati principle, an advanced devotee is supposed to spend at least 50% of his income on the service of the Lord and his devotees. Srila Rupa Goswami has set such an example in his life. When he decided to retire, he distributed 50% of his life's earnings to Krishna service and 25% to his relatives, and kept 25% for personal emergencies. This example should be followed. Prabhupada is writing, see, this example should be followed by all devotees. Whatever one's income is there, 50% should be spent on behalf of Krishna and his devotees, and this will fulfill the demands of Dadati. So, since we are reading the Upadesamrita of Rupa Goswami, we can see in the life of Rupa Goswami, he perfectly followed this Dadati principle in his life. When he surrendered his life to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, before so before he was there serving under the Muhammadan. So after he took complete shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he distributed his money because he was very rich. Okay, so he came from a very rich background, and he distributed his life's earnings, 50% of his life's earnings to Krishna service, 25% he gave to his relatives, and 25% he kept for some personal emergencies. And Prabhupada is writing that all the householders, all the devotees, they should actually follow this principle. And in this way, we can fulfill the demands of Dadati. At last, Prabhupada is writing in the next verse, Srila Rupa Goswami informs us what kind of Vaishnavas should be selected as a friend and how Vaishnavas should be served. Okay, so Prabhupada is explaining that the 6 living exchanges are there. Now, what kind of Vaishnava actually should we select as a friend? And then in that way, how can we serve Vaishnavas? So with that, I would like to conclude here. If anyone has any questions, they can ask now.
I want to, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, I want to ask.
Yes.
This charity giving and taking is mentioned in this verse is for the is charity giving and taking is not clear to me exactly what exactly it means by giving charity.
मैं हिंदी में बोलता हूँ, ठीक है
जी
तो ददाती और प्रतिगृणाती जो है ना, तो उसमें हम लोग गिव एंड टेक पॉलिसी, तो प्रभुपाद ने 2 प्रकार से ये बताया है, ये ददाती और प्रतिगृणाती। तो सबसे पहले प्रभुपाद ने बताया कि जो बाहर के जो लोग हैं, वो लोग सब इस्कॉन मूवमेंट को एकदम लिबरली बहुत अच्छे तरीके से वो बहुत डोनेशंस दे रहे हैं ये इस्कॉन मूवमेंट के लिए, और हम लोग प्रतिगृणाती कर रहे हैं, वो एक्सेप्ट कर रहे हैं, और साथ में उनको हम लोग एक्सेप्ट कर रहे हैं, और जो भी गिफ्ट जो हम लोग दे सकते हैं, तो म्यूचुअली वो आउटसाइड जो मेंबर्स है वो लोग सब डोनेशंस देते हैं और हम लोग एक्सेप्ट करते हैं इस्कॉन मूवमेंट जो है, हरे कृष्ण मूवमेंट पे एलाबरेट जो एक्सपांड करने के लिए। और हम लोग भी ददाती को फॉलो करते हैं। कैसे? हम लोग उनको छोटी छोटी पुस्तकें देते हैं, हम लोग उनको बुक्स देते हैं, तो हम लोग भी ददाती करते हैं और वो लोग सब प्रतिगृणाती मतलब एक्सेप्ट करते हैं। और श्रील प्रभुपाद ने दूसरा एक वे बताया कि किस प्रकार से हम लोग ददाती और प्रतिगृणाती को अपना सकते हैं। वो है कि जो भक्तगण होते हैं वो हर दिन नगर संकीर्तन के लिए जाते हैं बाहर, ताकि जो बाहर के जो लोग हैं, जो लोग जो भी मेटेरियलिस्टिक भौतिक कामों में लगे हुए हैं, तो उनके भी कानों में ये हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र जाए। तो वो भक्तगण बहुत दयालु है कि वो लोग सब बाहर जाकर भी ये ददाती और प्रतिगृणाती जो चीज है वो फॉलो करते हैं। तो ददाती मतलब इतना ही नहीं कि बस पैसा का देना, या तो पैसा या तो और जो बुक्स देना, बस इतना ही नहीं, साथ में हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र का कीर्तन हम लोग जो देते हैं, तो वो भी बहुत बड़ी चैरिटी है। तो जिसके द्वारा वो व्यक्ति का जन्म मृत्यु चक्र है जो है, जन्म मृत्यु जरा व्याधि के चक्र से वो निकल सकता है। तो इससे जो भक्तगण होते हैं वो बाहर जाते हैं और इस प्रकार से हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र का जप करते, कीर्तन करते हैं। और जो बाहर के लोग हैं जो अपने कामों में व्यस्त हैं, वो जब देखते हैं भक्तों का दर्शन करते हैं, सुनते हैं वो हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र, तो वो प्रतिगृणाती करते, वो स्वीकार करते। तो प्रभुपाद बोल रहे कि दोनों जगह से इस प्रकार से ददाती प्रतिगृणाती म्यूचुअली ऐसे रेसिप्रोकेशन होता है। सो प्रभुपाद ने से टर्म दिया गिव एंड टेक पॉलिसी।
जी, थैंक यू।
Okay, any other questions?
Prabhuji, I wanted to ask,
Yes.
I wanted to ask that now that we have read the verses and we are done with the class, what are we supposed to do up until the next class? In the duration between, हमें क्या करना है?
जी जी जी। तो एक चीज कर सकते हैं, जैसे कि अभी मैं नेक्स्ट जो क्लास होगा उस समय हम लोग 5वां श्लोक पढ़ेंगे उपदेशामृत का। तो आप 5वां श्लोक जो है उसका एक बार आप जो तात्पर्य प्रभुपाद ने दिया है और जो अनुवाद है श्लोक का वो आप एक बार पढ़ सकते हैं। यदि आपके पास हार्ड कॉपी नहीं है तो मैं आपको पीडीएफ भेज दूंगा, वो ग्रुप में ऑलरेडी मैंने शेयर किया है, तो मैं आपको वापस भेज दूंगा। आप पीडीएफ से भी पढ़ सकते हैं जो उपदेशामृत की बुक है, और उसका तात्पर्य जो है वो पढ़िए और थोड़ा सा आपको आइडिया रहेगा कि हाँ क्या डिस्कस होने वाला है आज क्लास में। तो मैं क्लास में क्या करता हूँ कि ये प्रभुपाद का जो तात्पर्य है वो हम लोग अंडरस्टैंड कर, कि प्रभुपाद जो हर एक पैराग्राफ में एक एक करके क्वेश्चंस को आंसर करे कि हाउ वेयर डू वी हैव टू डू एंड व्हाई डू वी हैव टू डू। सो इस प्रकार का जो क्वेश्चंस जो आते हैं सभी प्रकार से वो प्रभुपाद एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हैं कि हम लोगों को कैसे भक्ति करना है। तो ये सब मैं थोड़ा थीमेटिक और बहुत प्रॉपर्ली कैसे प्रभुपाद के जो तात्पर्य को अंडरस्टैंड करना है वो मैं करता हूँ, ताकि हम लोग प्रभुपाद के तात्पर्य को और अच्छे तरीके से समझ पाए। तो आप ये कर सकते हैं कि नेक्स्ट क्लास से पहले आप ये जो तात्पर्य है जो 5 वर्ष का वो आप पढ़ के आ सकते हैं।
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you.
थैंक यू। Okay, one yes, Chandradev Prabhu and Tanuja Mataji and Sneha Mataji. So since you all are present here, I would like to just tell or ask that would you like to take classes of Visarga Sandhi? Are you interested in learning Visarga Sandhi, or you can?
I am interested, Prabhuji.
Okay, Sneha Mataji is interested. Yeah.
I am also Prabhuji.
Yeah, because I'm just seeing if there are some devotees, then we can maybe, you know, I can just launch that Visarga Sandhi course. Also, Krishna Kirti Prabhu is there, so Krishna Kirti Prabhu and his wife is they are interested in joining those sessions. Okay, so Tanuja Mataji and Sneha Mataji, they both are interested. I don't know if Chandradev Prabhu.
Krishna Prabhuji, what course is that?
Yeah, that course is regarding Sanskrit grammar, because I also
Okay.
teach Sanskrit grammar, so that is regarding Visarga Sandhi. There are some rules of Sandhi in Sanskrit grammar, so I teach that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
प्रभु जी थैंक यू वेरी मच। अभी क्या है कि मेरे पास समय की थोड़ा वो है, समय की कमिटमेंट नहीं दे सकता हूँ।
Yeah, no problem, no problem. तो देखते हैं कि हम लोग स्टार्ट करेंगे 15 या 17 तारीख को ये विसर्ग संधि कोर्स। लेट्स सी। Okay, so we will I will meet you in the next class. So I'll conclude here if there are no questions and no comments. Okay. वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रील रूप गोस्वामी पाद की जय। निताय गौ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Thank you for coming.
Thank you so
Hare
much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.